Depending on how healthy the individual is, doesn't smoke, drink, or like to party, it's going to heal within like a week. But if you've got someone that's like knocking on death's door, yeah, they're going to take like a couple, even up to a month to fully heal. So if you're doing realism and you don't finish in one session, how do you reapply the stencil to be able to pick up the day we left off? Great question. So what you want to do is, assuming that you've got an iPad, right? If you're doing realism, you should have an iPad. It's just going to make it so much easier. Don't do it with Photoshop. That's what I did when I was coming up, and it's just painful. And then every time that you print it out, don't adjust the size on the printer, adjust the size in your iPad. And then when you finally print out the right size with a stencil, save that size. You finally get the stencil on, the last version of that image, or like the last layer of that image that was the correct size, name that layer saying like, correct size. So then that way, when that client comes back in, you see what the tattoo is, you go into your iPad, you scroll down to the tattoo they did, you find the layer that was the correct size, you print it out, that's the exact same as what it was the first time when you printed it out. You just got to be organized. That's all it is. Multi-session tattoos. How soon should the second session be after the first? Have seen other artists do the second session the next day. Is that bad? Is it acceptable? So I actually got back-to-back days done on my forearm. I went to New Zealand. I got tattooed by a mate that I used to work with over in Invercargill in New Zealand. Yeah, he did me back-to-back, and he actually said, it's like, I don't like doing that. I only did it because you traveled. Even on the second day, like my arm was swollen up pretty bad. And the second day was like, it was not fun. It gets pretty difficult too, because like you can see how like this skull was we did on day one, and then the knife that I've got on my inner arm was day two. So you can see how that's got all of these yellow bits of sun that were tattooed on day one, and then we're doing like dark reds and we're doing grays and stuff on the knife. You just got to be super careful you don't stain the colors, because the wound is still open. You can tattoo people back to back, but you have to make sure that they keep the tattoo wrapped, because if it starts to dry out and it starts to scab, no bueno. You're not going to be able to tattoo that the next day. So you just have to be really clear with the clients, like, hey man, don't take this wrap off. Or if you do take it off, just take it to rinse it in the shower and then put the wrap back on to stop it from drying out and developing a scab, because once it starts to scab up, you can't work on it. But I don't like doing back-to-back days. I'd much rather wait for the client to fully heal. Depending on how healthy the individual is, like a young 21-year-old that's in the prime of their life, doesn't smoke, drink, or like to party, it's going to heal within like a week, assuming that it's done well. But if you've got someone that's like knocking on death's door, they're like one cigarette away from death, yeah, they're going to take like a couple, even up to a month to fully heal. Like if their health is really, really bad and their immune system is super compromised. So generally, the younger they are, the faster they heal. Tattoo design. What do you guys recommend new artists do when they feel stuck? Well, they don't feel like they're making progress on drawing, designing skills, regression in skills. Ooh, that's a big one. If you're consistently drawing, your skills aren't going to regress. What you'll find is that when you're building a skill set, it's not like a straight line from beginner to like expert. There's going to be like peaks and troughs, but it'll always trend up and to the right if you stay consistent, unless you stick within your comfort zone and then you don't try anything else. Like you figure out how to do like really cool mandalas or blackwork stuff, but then you just stay in that little box and you never experiment. But in terms of when you're feeling artist block, that just means you're not inspired, bro. I would look at other artists' work and I draw inspiration from other artists' work. And that's the easiest way to get re-inspired again. On top of that, when you plan out what you're going to draw in advance, this is something that we tell a lot of our students inside of Tattooing 101. Dude, get a Google sheet, plan out your week. This is the style that I want to learn. I strongly recommend starting off with trad because it's the easiest and it's the fastest route to being able to make an income from tattooing. Decide on a style that you're going to learn. Don't hop around. If you're constantly hopping from like trad to realism to neo-trad, it'll take so long for you to figure out any one of them. Like you'll burn yourself out. It's kind of like, imagine if you're learning 5 degrees at once, you're doing like psychology and then you're doing business over here and then you're doing like medical science. And instead of just spending 4 years on one, you did like a couple of months in one degree and then you moved over to another degree for a couple of months. You'd never graduate. You'd be a college dropout, man, like me. Yeah, so stick with one style and then plan out what you're going to draw a week in advance. On Monday, I'm going to draw 5 panthers. Tuesday, I'm going to draw 5 lady faces. Wednesday, I'm going to draw 5 roses. And when you do that and you get your references in advance, when it comes to that day, you just literally sit down at your desk, bust out a bunch of drawings. You'll be way more productive. You'll get a lot more done and you'll learn a lot quicker because you'll be consistent. Planning is the key to consistency. If you're just doing stuff off the cuff, it's very easy to procrastinate and just like not do it. So I got a tattoo my uncle on the ribs. He's a big guy and any tips on tattooing a big skull with roses and vines wrapped around its neck? If you're going to be tattooing the ribs, I can actually show you this right now. So check this out. So that's the massage bed over there. When you're tattooing them, get them like this, right? So you have them lying down and then put their arm over their head like this and then like their leg in the opposite direction, and then you want to spread them out diagonally over the massage table, and then you want to put like a pillow underneath their ribs so that way it kind of flattens them out, because when you tattoo someone's ribs, it feels like the ribs like sink inward, whereas when you put like a pillow underneath, it flattens them out and you've got a nice canvas to work with. It's much easier to tattoo. Yeah, if you're going to be tattooing ribs, clear your schedule for the rest of the day. As soon as you put that stencil on, he lies down and he stretches out, that tattoo is going to double in size. It's going to be a much bigger tattoo than you think it is. Pinterest ruins my creativity. If you rely on it too much and you're constantly looking at other people's work and not creating your own, I can see how that would happen, but it's really good to get references and get inspired, especially when you're drawing something you're not super familiar with, seeing other ways that people have drawn it. At least, you know, what I found early on in my career was super helpful. And I've never been able to draw well, but love the art of tattooing. If you're having trouble with drawing, man, we literally just brought out this thing called Artist Hour. We do it over email. We give you like 90 days worth of drawing projects. Every day we send out an email saying, hey, I'm going to show you like a new feature in Procreate, or how do you do like this cool technique inside of Procreate, or like a drawing framework that you can use for doing roses. We've had like our first batch of students go through it. They're like, the feedback's been super positive. So if you're struggling with drawing, definitely check out Artist Hour on the site. It's a really dope program. This is where I'm stuck. I don't know what style I like. If you don't know what style you like, I'll just start with trad. People get that flipped the wrong way. They think it's like, oh, I've got to find my passion. They spend their whole lives looking for whatever the fuck they want to do. I'm a firm believer that if you dedicate time to something and you put effort and hours and work and grind into it, and you develop like a skill set, then the passion comes afterwards. You can actually choose what you want to be passionate about by investing your time into it. At least that's my perspective anyway, man. Trad is great, but there's lots of different routes to take within the style. Traditional tattoos typically don't have like finer lines in them. Like it's just all done with like a 14 or like a bold liner. But there's a guy, Samuel Briganti. His stuff is amazing. He'll use like 5s and 3s and stuff in his traditional style tattoos, and it looks amazing.